This used to be my classroom, and I will no longer have access to it. So I need to make room of all this stuff in my studio. So I will get back in hopefully a few days and show you how I was successful with this. I think the big thing for me was that I moved my light box, this thing here, which was on my desk. Okay, so we are now entering my craft room, and I'm gonna do wall by wall, I guess is the best way to do this. So I just closed my door, and on this wall here I basically have my file folders in those wire mesh baskets that I bought at IKEA. It's actually one unit and I really like it. I used to have one on this side as well, but I had to put that tower of 12 by 12 drawers, so I took it out and I gave it to somebody. So behind the door I have an old shoe rack or shoe bag, and I put all my punches that don't fit on my wall of punches that you'll see later on. So I've got various companies in there. I also have my paper crimper and my decorative scissors at the bottom there. And over here I've got my 12 by 12 drawers. They come in units of 3 drawers, so I have 4, so 12 in all. Over top is my glue gun, which I keep in this basket because I haven't found the proper way to store it. And in here I've got my Expedit unit that I've had for a long time, ever since I moved in here. And basically I have all my Stampin' Up! 12 by 12 over here, my Basil 12 by 12 also separated by colors, and here I've got my 8.5 and 11 Stampin' Up! Retired cardstock, and then it goes down to other companies. And as you can see, I've got quite a bit of K & Company. I love K & Company paper. Also Basic Gray, Webster's Pages, Graphic 45, Die Cuts with a View. So they're all stored in here. And at the bottom here I've got my Stampin' Up! Retired DSP that I've separated by color. It took me a long time, but it was fun to do and it was relaxing at a time when I didn't feel creative. So I just sat in front of my computer, watched YouTube videos and did that. So that was fun. These are my 12 by 12 scrapbooking albums. Some of them I've started, some of them I haven't even touched yet. And these are just current projects that I'm working on, and this is my Valentine's paper. I like to isolate the holiday that I'm working on so that I have one main area that I can get inspiration from. So this is my Valentine stuff. Over here I've got my my cupboards, and inside my cupboards I have various stuff. This one is kind of my messy one because it's got my toolbox, some chipboard coasters, my Zutter, bind it all and all that. Not fun stuff really. And over here, this is how I store my nestabilities, and I wish I had found out that you can put full sheets, or that you can buy full sheets of magnetic sheets, excuse me, because I would have done it before. But I had those strips and I put them down there and they do the job, but they're ugly. But I don't care because when the door is closed, it doesn't matter. So basically here I've got my Xyron and my cubes, more Xyron machine. I've got Tim Holtz on the edge, dies, Sizzlets, embossing folders that I've separated by companies, and my cutting plates. Over here, these are all my mediums, so watercolor pencils, Prismacolor pencils. I've got also Hodgepodge from Stampin' Up!, like the metal stuff, Flower Soft, wax crayon and whatnot. So this is basically all the mediums that I don't have out is in there. And in this last cupboard I have, this is how I store my glitter and my embossing powders, and they're all identified and labeled. And these are my Cricut cartridges. I have 2 rows. It's a mess right now. I have to find some place to put them, to store them, because I have also some of them newer ones that I bought down here, so I gotta find a place for them. And up top I have baskets with stuff that I don't use all that often, like fibers and my printer cartridges and some of the glitters that I don't use often, and some tools and candles and whatnot. So that's on this wall. Oops. And now we're going to move on to below here. This is the big improvement here. My light box that I showed you earlier used to be here, and I took it out, and I'm really happy because I just recently acquired the Cricut Expression and I wanted it out. I also wanted my sewing machine out because it was one of those cupboards over there and I couldn't close the door properly and I wasn't using it as much. So now it's out and I'm real happy. In those 2 bins I have some paints that I use for art journaling, and these are all my paintbrushes, and I need to find a better container for that. Maybe I'll alter one and have one big bucket for those. This is my trusty Big Shot, love it. And underneath here I have my big filing cabinet, which I have recycled from a company, and they don't make this size anymore, so I'm really happy because it just sort of slides right underneath my counter space. But basically here I've got all my 8.5 by 11 Stampin' Up! Cardstock, and in each color folder I have a page protector with the remnants of cardstock, so it's easy access. I know it looks messy. I used to have them stored horizontally, but every time I would pick up one, the big pieces would get stuck on this little ledge here. So I don't care because it's always closed, so I don't mind. And down here I've got other papers. I've got obviously my paper tray ink cardstock here, which I love. These are past classes. They're all divided by in the folders, and some more papers from other companies, and like papers that are not of quality here. And before I forget, sorry for the noise, underneath here I have a rolling cart. I can pull out. Oops. Okay, I'm not good at this. Hold on. I'm gonna pull out just so you can see. Here we go. This is all my stuff for art journaling. So I've got my gesso, my matte gel and whatnot, because I recently took up art journaling and I really like it. So some of the sprays here. So these tools, I don't do art journaling often, although I really like it. But it's one way to store more stuff. It's in a corner that was completely unused. And now, because I don't use it all that often, I can store it away and I can take it out again when I want to. So, okay, over here I've got my neat carousel, which I love. I've seen a whole bunch of people not liking this carousel recently on YouTube. I don't know, I love mine. I just, I can't live without it. My friend Sophie enticed me to buy it and I'm really happy that I did. So all my tools, the tools that I use all the time, are all stored in here. Even my T-squares and my ATG gun and rulers and adhesive, and that's it. So I really like it. And in my drawers there's some more stuff in there which I've identified. I've labeled them all so that I know what is where. And this little rack here is a new addition. This is a spice rack from IKEA. And I keep some of my glimmer mists and my homemade Ranger Perfect Pearl glimmer mist and some beads and stuff. And basically in here, in those things, are my basic gray buttons, and brads are up here. I keep them separate because they match the paper perfectly, so I like to keep them separate. In here I've got my embossing folders and texture plate samplers that Sophie made for me. Some other tools, and I've got my Stampin' Up! Punches sampler, my ribbon sampler. So this is basically my sampler area. And over here I've got my collection of Copic markers, water-based markers, and other markers, gel pens and glaze pens and whatnot. Here are some other Prismacolor. This is the big box of Prismacolor Premier that I was able to put in those two things here. Some of them are not sharpened yet because I haven't gotten around to use them. And over here on my work surface, I've got this basic gray magnet precision mat, which I love, 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 love. With the ruler and the magnets there, perfect for when you want to do rub-ons and you don't want to cut the particular rub-on off the sheet. Just put that on your mat, put your paper underneath, take those little thingies and hold the rub-ons, so that way you don't have to touch it with your finger, and just rub the one that you want off, and no mess. Love it. Of course, my Martha Stewart scoring board, and my mat from Scorpal. And this is my Stampin' Up! And all my other stamp pads, the Tim Holtz, and some close to my heart. Yes, I buy from competition. It's healthy. So this is my rack, and underneath I have some of the Stampin' Up! Ribbon that is current, and on top I've got some buttons all separated by color in little jars, and those are my adhesive and stuff that I use all the time. My stamping mess for my Stampin' Scrub, and so on and so forth. And up top here I've got my, it looks like a little library cube. I love these drawers, they're fun. I bought this years and years ago, I don't remember where, and I put my stickles, my liquid pearls, alcohol inks, re-inkers, and in here, this is where I stuff this is where I store my embellishments, the tiny ones, and I can show you. I'll open one for you because they're really neat. I've had those for a long time. I bought them when I used to work at a scrapbooking store, but basically they come in strips like these. You've got 8 per case, and what's neat about it is that you can open only one of those bins and just shake it out and use whatever you want, put it back so the other ones don't fall out of the case, which I really, really like. And no matter how much you shake it, nothing will fall out of it, so I like those. Up top here, oh, I gotta hurry, this is gonna be a two-parter. Up top here I've got more drawer bins for the tools that I use often. I've got replacement blades, I've got chipboard squares and circles, and my smooches and rhinestones and pearls and little bags, and so yeah, Stampin' Up! Glitters, my Perfect Pearls and Pearl X Shimmer Mist. And by the way, there's a video on my YouTube channel on these, so on how to make them, so be sure to check that out. Some paints, the paint daubers from Tim Holtz, love them. And adhesive, my foam adhesive and sticky tape. And over here in the corner I've got some more additional tools and adhesive and stuff. And over here are my ribbons, all separated by colors. These are my remnant ribbons, or ribbons that don't fit on the spool. And that's it. So on this wall here, let's finish up that my desk or my counter area, my TV. This is my Illico box, which is the equivalent of TiVo in the States, and I'm really happy about this setup. My husband offered that to me a few years ago, and I'm so happy that I've got that down here. And my trusty Big Macs. Love my Apple. And this is where I sit and do my computer work. Over there in the back I've got those rain gutters that my friend Jen installed for me, and these hold the rest of my ribbon on spools. And this is my printer, filing cabinet, and I'm going to stop it here, and I'm going to do a two-parter, so I'll see you soon.